Did you know that the budding of Aaron's rod is a pointer to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, years before Jesus Christ is ever born? Welcome to day 60 of our 1000 Days of Revealing Christ challenge. We're still looking at the mystery of the rod, a series I started on day 59, and this is part 2 of learning concerning Aaron's rod. In Numbers chapter 17, we see Aaron's rod budding and actually even producing fruit. But to understand what is happening, we have to start from Numbers chapter 16. The atmosphere in Numbers chapter 16 is thick with rebellion and a stench of death. Israel is exhausted. A man named Korah has just risen up with 250 leaders of the Israelites to challenge the exclusive priesthood of Aaron. They look at Aaron and ask, "Why is it you who gets to stand between us and God? Aren't we also holy?" The result is catastrophic. The earth literally opens up and swallows all the 250 leaders, together with Korah, their leader. And the very next day, a very terrified and angry congregation blames Moses and Aaron for what happened. Now, a massive plague breaks out and starts killing more people that Aaron, the high priest, has to grab his censer, run directly into the chaotic space between the living and the dead, and burn the incense in order to stop the plague from killing more people. As the people are terrified, God has to intervene, and he says that he is going to permanently settle the issue of who his chosen mediators are, so that the people will stop dying. And so God commands Moses to collect 12 sticks. And these are not just sticks. You see, each and every leader from the tribe of Israel had an official staff, had an official rod. And this rod, the Hebrew word mateh, represented the identity, the authority, and the lineage of the tribe. Handing over the staff was handing over your right to lead. So God takes these 12 rods, these 12 staffs, and commands Moses to lock them inside the Holy of Holies, next to the Ark of the Covenant, where the presence of God dwelt. And those sticks stay there overnight. The next morning, Moses walks into the Holy of Holies and he's met with a shock. 11 out of the 12 sticks are exactly as they were. Just a simple dead wood, okay? But Aaron's rod had changed majestically. The text tells us that it miraculously sprouted, put forth buds, blossomed, and bore ripe almonds. The rod of Aaron had undergone all the processes of agriculture to the point of bearing fruit. And it is not just any kind of fruit, it is the almond fruit. We are going to see why this is important. In Hebrew, the word almond is the word shaked. It comes from a root verb that means to awaken or to watch. Now, understand this. In Israel, the almond tree was the very first tree to awaken. What do I mean? During winter, all trees in Israel were considered dead. They could not produce anything. They could not blossom. They could not bear any fruit. Now, during the late winter, the very first tree that blossomed and started to produce buds showing signs of life was the almond tree. And this is very important. While snow was still in the ground and every other tree looked completely dead, the almond tree started to awaken before every other tree. Now, all that is the Old Testament shadow of it. If you know the New Testament, your mind should be racing by now. This entire historical event is a brilliant and an undeniable prophecy of Jesus Christ. Let us pull all these details together and pull them forward to watch the gospel explode. Now, Aaron's rod was just a dead stick, completely cut off from its source of life. In Isaiah chapter 53, Isaiah prophesies about Jesus saying, he was cut off out of the land of the living. Jesus is the true rod of God, who was cut off and placed in the pitch blackness and darkness of the tomb. There was zero biological hope left for Jesus. Now, in the Old Testament, the reason that God made the rod of Aaron to bloom was to prove to a rebellious Israel, a rebellious world, that Aaron was the chosen high priest, the chosen mediator between God and man. Now, the budding and blossoming of Aaron's rod is a pointer to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And why did God raise Jesus Christ from the dead? Romans chapter 1 verse 4 declares that Jesus was declared to be the Son of God in power by his resurrection from the dead. The world rebelled and rejected the authority of Jesus Christ. But God vindicated Jesus Christ by bringing him out of the tomb alive, proving forever that he is our eternal high priest who stands between God and man, both the living and the dead. Now, why did the rod of Aaron blossom almond fruits? And how does this point to Jesus Christ? God intentionally passed every other fruit and grew the almond, the shaked, the awakened, on that dead stick. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 20 declares that Christ has been raised from the dead, the first fruit of those who have fallen asleep. Jesus is the ultimate almond tree. He awakened from death first, making him the first fruit of all those who are going to resurrect from the dead. Now, Aaron's rod did not just produce leaves. It produced buds and it blossomed and produces fully ripe almonds. And all this happened in one night. Now, this defies the laws of agriculture. When Jesus Christ died and resurrected, the fruit of his finished work was immediate and complete. He did not just give us buds. He produced the fully ripe fruit of justification, sanctification, and eternal life all at once, proving that the budding of Aaron's rod was a pointer to the resurrection of Jesus Christ and what it would do. Now, in Numbers chapter 17 verse 10, God gives Moses a final command and tells him to put that resurrected rod into the Ark of the Covenant to be kept as a sign for the rebels, lest they die. Do you see the picture? Today, Jesus Christ is the resurrected rod. Not just the resurrected Lord, but also the resurrected rod. He is the rod of God, and he is seated at the right hand of God the Father. Remember, the Ark of the Covenant is where the presence of God dwelt. Right now, Jesus Christ is seated in the heavenly places, seated at the right hand of God the Father, the place of dominion and power in the presence of God. His resurrected life is the permanent end to all the accusations of the enemy and to everyone and anyone who would want to question the authority of God. Jesus Christ, our high priest, has been vindicated, and the dead wood has come alive and even bore fruit. Have you learned something? That was day 60.